Hello, everyone. Welcome to Urban Pro's live webinar. Your host today is Nivea Lystrom from Urban Pro team. So before we kickstart our today's presentation, I would like to quickly inform you all that Urban Pro is India's largest and most trusted learning network with over 6.5, yes, 6.5 lakh verified tutors, trainers, and institutes. All right, for those attendees who are new to this Zoom platform, I would like to inform you all that in case if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the Q&A box on your Zoom control panel, okay? And if or you can also raise your hand by clicking on the hand icon, which is there right in front of you on your Zoom control panel. Again, I hope you all found it. Okay, so for those YouTube viewers, you can drop your questions on the comment box, okay? Don't worry about your questions as I will bring them up after the presentation as we will have time for questions at the end. Okay, so coming back to today's sessions, we are presenting an interactive live webinar on learning quick and easy ways to speak English. And our speaker today is Piyush Chandra. For those who don't know, he's a skilled IELTS, PTE, TOEFLs, and teaching English as a foreign language expert. He has over 15 years of experience as a tutor, trainer, facilitator, and as a coach. He has trained over 2 lakh learners, 200 plus trainers, facilitators, and coaches. Not just that, he has trained 100 plus senior management, executive, and senior government officials. So without any further ado, let's welcome our speaker today. Hi, sir. Welcome to Urban Pro's live webinar.
Hi, Nivia. Thank you very much for this wonderful introduction of yours. And I welcome all the participants in here. Hi to all. And thanks for joining in this thing. So, Nivia, I'm good to take from here. Thank you very, very much for the kind words. Okay. So, I'm sure all of you would have come up with a lot of questions, a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas, and might be anxious about what is there to learn in this particular English speaking exercise. Okay, so without further ado, let me, now that Nivia has already given you my introduction, let me just share some of the things. Okay, so I'll start with a very, very quick question to all of you. Okay, you can type your response in the chat box. So there are 6 categories that are given there. Just check for yourself and see which category you fall in and type your responses in the chat box. You have about 10 seconds to respond. Okay, so I see one response. Very good. Thanks for it. Okay, yeah. All right, good.
We have 3 responses. 4. We have 4.
Yeah. Okay, let's have some more
So let
responses.
me just pick up one. So Ramya, one of our attendees said a 345 is applicable to her.
All right. Okay. Very good. Very good. Okay. I see a lot of other people responding onto this. So, and I think so. Any of these, if any of these is something that you are struggling with, you are at the right place at the right time. This is the session for you. Okay. So I'm sure, by and large, even if people have not given in their responses, they would have probably been able to signify or probably been able to identify which category they currently fall into. So let me just move ahead and see. Okay, so I'm sure the reason why you're here is because you haven't been able to find a solution for this as yet. So, okay, just quickly, if there are people who have found a solution for any of the 6 problems or the specific problem that they have, has it worked for them so far? I would just quickly want a yes or a no on this one. So if you have found a solution, has it worked for you so far? Just quickly a yes or no. Because my feeling is that if you're attending this particular session, the solution that you have been working upon has not worked for you so far. All right, thanks, Sandeep. I think that was very quick, and I think that's what this session is all about: to find out newer ways, to find out better ways of how it should be done. So it is not something which happened. It is not something that I worked overnight. Okay, this is something that has been a result of a lot of research, my own experiences. So initially when I started, I mean, there was a different me, tutoring people and going about a different approach. But over the years the approach has been changing. It has been continuously changing to ensure that it meets the need of the current learners. So these are those things, that the quick 5 ways that we are going to talk about. You can even take them as steps or something. The things that we are going to talk about in this particular exercise today are something that has worked for my students so far. And there has been tremendous amount of success that I have gained because of this methodology being used by my students, and it's fantastically working. So I'm going to share something with you which is working so far and which is going to work for you as well. Okay, so let's just quickly get on to, I'm sure you've been waiting very patiently for what is it about, what are some of those things. Okay, so what is the way I can probably get and learn English quickly and in a very good manner. Okay, so without further ado, let me just okay, and this is something that what you've been thinking so far. Okay, so what to do. Okay, now as you've been thinking, I was also thinking about what to do. What is the best way to teach students? I mean, how can I get it in a better way so that it becomes faster and it becomes easier for my students as well? Something which works. There is no dearth of advice that is probably being floated around. Okay, so you have to follow the following 5 steps to English speaking. This is what you've been waiting for. Let's go for it. Okay. So, step number 1. Now, this is, let me just throw some light upon this particular thing. You see, this particular bird, it is not going to fly unless and until it flutters its wings and continues to flutter its wings till it reaches the top of the sky, or probably as far as as it can reach. Step number 1 of speaking English, or any other language for that matter, is speak that language or speak English. It is very important to first get that fear out of you. The mindset has to be developed in the first place. I'm sure all of you would have seen, or probably when you were growing up, I don't know, maybe you remember that or not, but if you see a little child learning a language, you see that particular child, when he is learning the language, the child, he or she, is fearless, shameless, and not ready to give up. You only fail when you are giving up on that particular thing. But the child never gives up. He is not worried, he or she is not worried about tenses, grammar, sentence construction. They just speak. They just speak without the fear. The idea is, so step number 1 is you are going to start speaking. You are not going to learn English by listening to 10 YouTube videos or things, or watching English movies or reading things. You're not going to be able to speak English until and unless you speak English. With somebody else speaking very good English and you listening to it, you are not going to start speaking. You are only going to start speaking when you speak. So step number 1 is you got to start speaking. There are numerous ways. You can start speaking to your favorite toy. You can start speaking to a mirror. You can start speaking to anything that you like, a particular plant, wall, anything that you like in your house. You can, and even if you have people who are not going to judge you, who are not going to correct you every time, who are just going to smile at you and not laugh at you. Okay, somebody who is going to just smile at you, you can also speak to them. Continue to speak to them. You're only going to speak English when you speak English. Whatever English is there in you, whatever. No matter it is very, very less. You feel that it is incorrect, correct, whatever. Like that particular child, you have to speak. Start speaking like that child. And that's how you learn. They you see a child starts with ta 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 sha ya wa, then it starts speaking. Over a period of time, it starts speaking. And suddenly, okay, the magic happens. And they start speaking. And then when they start speaking, they are not stopping. It is you are also not going to stop. But the first step in this process is you have to start you speaking. Like I said, can talk to anyone. Continue talking to anyone. Can be anyone. Find anybody or anything. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter really. Okay. So now that you have conquered the first step, you have started speaking. Uh, you have overcome that particular fear that I am going to flutter my wings whether I fall. Unless and until I reach the sky, I am going to continue flutter my wings. My wings, I cannot, like this little bird, okay, it is going to fly. You have to take that particular flight. Start speaking. No matter what, just start speaking. Okay, that's step number one. Now I'm going to talk about a very, very important step after this. This is where you probably form a foreground of things. You're speaking right, or you're speaking wrong. You're just speaking. You've developed the confidence of being able to speak. You've got the words, you've got the things, you've started speaking. Now is the time somebody helps you, holds you, guides you, okay? Because now you've worked out something and you are ready to be guided. You have something at hand. This is the time when you need to go on to step number two, and that is you have to find a good tutor for yourself. By tutor, I do not mean it can be anybody. I do not mean that you have to hire somebody or go to particular classes or something. It can be anybody. It can be a friend, it can be a colleague, it can be your mother, father, friend, it can be a relative, anybody for that matter. There are two prerequisites of somebody being qualified as a tutor. In addition to the fact that this person needs to be an expert, there are two things which are very, very important, and that is patience and time. If this person does not have the patience or time, or any of these things for that matter, to teach you, then this person does not qualify as a teacher or a tutor. They are not going to be able to take you through. So the reason why I joined Urban Pro and I reached here, I realized, there is so much need of a good tutor for students. Students, when they come to me, they have probably tried. So I have had most of the students, they probably tried everything on earth to learn English, to start speaking, watching YouTube videos, talking to some English people in the world, trying to watch English movies with subtitles, everything for that matter, reading. It hasn't worked for them so far because they need somebody to hold on, give them the right direction, help them understand what is wrong, what is right, how it goes. And it has to be coming in a way that's so. Imagine or remember the time when you started to learn cycling or anything for that matter, when you started learning to cook, cycling. Probably when you started learning to cook, you might have definitely burnt some vegetables, or I did that for roti. I burned a lot of rotis when I did a little bit of a cooking during my student days. And now, and when I was learning to cycle, at that point of time, my father was holding my cycle to help me go through. And I'm sure this would have been the case with everybody. Somebody has to hold you there. Somebody needs to have the patience, and that person needs to be able to take you there. You would get n number of people who are ready to give you advice all the time. Okay, do this, do that. You'd find advices everywhere. But is there someone who is going to take you there? And that's very, very, very important. The most important thing is to be able to take you to the destination. Advices are not going to help. Only advices are not going to help. There has to be an action also following that particular advice. And when you start taking that action, somebody needs to hold you. Okay, this is right, this is wrong. You know, language learning becomes, and as it is an important exercise, it becomes easy when your parents are there. So when you were learning the language, when you were initially there, your parents were putting words onto your mouth, showing you the table. Okay, this is sofa, this is table, this is that, and this is mama, this is papa, giving you the right words for things. And then they probably started correcting you as well. Now that particular work is now going to be done by an expert who is a tutor. You need, at this point of time, you need an excellent teacher, tutor to be able to guide you through. Because you might be trying n number of different steps. Okay, trying this, trying that. Somebody has to give you a give you a directional approach. Okay, do this way. This is how it is going to be done. And then you've already been doing your efforts, like in step one, you've been continuing to do your efforts. And those continuous efforts over a period of time, somebody gives you the direction over a period of time, they turn up to get wonders. So it's step number two, which is a vital step. You need to find a good tutor. And like I said, a good tutor can be anybody. The person would only qualify when the person is an expert in that particular domain and also has the necessary amount of patience and time to guide you. If any of these things is not there, that person does not qualify to be a tutor. All right. Now that you have, so you've qualified step number one, you've talked to people, you have started talking to yourself, you've started talking to some non-living things, your pets, anything for that matter, and you've started sharing your feelings. Then you find a right tutor for yourself who is able to give you the right guidance to be able to talk to those people in a more structured way. Okay, this is how it is going to be. Okay, this is not the way. It's somebody who gives you soft skills, somebody who gives you the right amount of pronunciation skills, somebody who guides you through, gives direction to your speaking. You're already speaking, and now somebody has started giving you that direction of speaking. So now that when you're ready, now when your tutor qualifies you and says, all right, you're now good to go. Okay, and that point of time, the third step in your life is to develop a learner's mindset. This also has to go during the process of your learning from the tutor. A learner's mindset is a very, very simple approach. The first thing that you need to remember for developing a learner's mindset is that it is not going to happen overnight for you. You need to have trust, faith, and enormous amount of trust on your tutor, on your teacher, and that's very, very, very important. You have to develop a complete learner's mindset that it is going to take some time. Some people take lesser amount of time, some people take higher amount of time, but it takes time to be able to get to the platform that you're actually looking for. Second step in a learner's mindset is whatever exercise that have been suggested to you, you need to complete them. You need to be able to do it without thinking, just do it. Third step is most of the people, they are not in a position to be able to qualify, judge, or test a tutor. Don't get into that. I will tell you one of the things that you need to look at, because Urban Pro as a platform, I've seen that all the tutors that are there, they're exceptional. Everybody is very, very good out here. One of the things that you need to particularly remember whilst zeroing down on a tutor is whether your frequency is matching with that particular tutor or not. Because you know the destination, the tutor knows the destination where you have to reach. Between that, between the time that you start your learning and the time when you would become a person who has already mastered that particular skill, between this time, there is a journey. And that journey has to be joyful. It has to be joyful. So you have to see whether you like the demeanor of the person or not, whether you like the person, whether you would be able to spend that 1 hour comfortably and enjoyably or not. Because it can be a 2 months journey, it can be a 3 months journey. If you are looking at that particular journey, if you look at that journey, one of the things that you need to completely keep in mind is whether you're going to enjoy it or not. Imagine you are traveling with somebody, you know the destination, the person sitting next to you in a car knows the destination, but there's no frequency. You guys are not enjoying the journey. The journey has to be definitely enjoyable. So one of the quick tips that you need to keep in mind while testing a tutor is whether uh, your frequency, your tuning, there are a lot of demonstrations and things that you can probably demo sessions and things that you can attend and see whether your frequency is matching with the tutor or not. Do not get into the process of judging a tutor in terms of skill set or things that has already been done by Urban Pro, and I think that's they are doing fantastic things out here. So step number 3, you got to develop a learner's mindset, and that is very, very important. You have to step in as a learner, continue being a learner. It's okay to fail, continue to get into that habit of not being able to do things. The the next step in this particular process is, once you've been able to qualify yourself that you have mastered the art, you've been able to do it really, really well, the tutor is has qualified you, you have got into a habit of speaking English. Now you have to continue that habit, and you have to now join a group of English learners. There can be numerous platforms that you can join, and you have to now get into, and I think I also give my students a wonderful platform. I give them some master classes, join them into groups where they start speaking. You have to now join a group of English speakers. It's a very, very important thing, because unless and until you continue, so it's similar to an exercise like swimming, dancing, or cycling or anything. If you stop that particular thing, or swimming, you do that particular thing for a certain amount of time and then you stop it. Yes, you will be able to do it after some time for sure, but you would not have the same kind of finesse and stamina to be able to remain in the same kind of touch, finesse. You need to continue that habit, and that habit can only be continued by joining a group of English learners. It's not necessary that you join a particular group. You can even create your groups. I've had I have helped students create their own groups inside their own houses. So some of them have made groups with their daughters, sons, parents, and anyone for that matter. You can form a group with anybody. So uh, in my classes, one student attends my classes, and most of the times I have seen that the entire family is trained on English. So that's the kind of relationship that I share with my students, and that is very, very that's very, very close to my heart. So the entire family becomes English educated. They start practicing those exercises inside the home, and that's how they form an English speaking environment at home, which is a great cross learning activity, and also it helps the entire family bring in an enormous amount of confidence. So they look forward to the class, not just the student. The entire family looks forward to that particular class. They're looking forward to the class. Okay, so what is going to happen today? And they're so excited. So now, like I said, if you're not getting a group, if you're not getting a group of English learners, in every possibility, you can create a group of your own of English learners. Nobody's stopping you from that. Uh, you have to find a lot of ways of being able to do the things that you're looking for. All right, now that you've been able to achieve it, you are now speaking English in a group. You are confident about facing the world. Uh, we get into a very, very crucial step. Okay, this is where you are. You're ready to fly. You're in the sky. Okay, you're speaking English. You It's like, when you started cycling, you thought that, I'm just going to fall, I'm not going to be able to ride it for sure. When you started driving a car. If you've seen a new driver driving the car, you see how he is actually stuck to the steering wheel, okay, driving. And when there is something that comes in front of the car, the the person fears in applying brakes. Instead of applying the brakes, they want the other person to go off. Okay, come on. So that's the way people start feeling. Okay, now in that particular process, there is still a tutor with you. So once you've achieved that particular thing, now when you probably might be, some of you might be driving a car, somebody might be driving a cycle or a bike or anything. So whatever you're riding or driving now, you might be, when you were learning, there was a different life. When you're now there, you probably are able to do a lot of things. You can talk on the phone, you can take out things from your pocket, you're driving around everywhere, you're driving fast, slow, whatever way, and you can apply brakes whenever you want. Now that's the stage. And in every language speaking, or probably English speaking also, there has to be a point when you should be able to promote yourself and say that I'm not a learner anymore. I am now ready to face the world. I'm ready. Okay, so this is the point where you should be able to promote yourself, because some of the people, they are not able to develop the mindset and say that I am ready. You cannot continue being a learner all your life. You have to start learning newer things, different things. You cannot learn the same thing for an entire life and still not be good at it. There would be some point of time. There has to be some point of time. You can take the help of the tutor in this particular thing. You can take the help of people around you or whatever. But you got to promote yourself from being a learner to somebody who is already through with this thing. Because like it's said that life is a lifelong learning process. There is a lifelong learning process, but not the same thing. It's okay to learn, but not the same thing. So you have to finish, because I'm sure, I've seen a lot of students when they come to me, and what happens is that they have been trying to learn English for good 4 years, 5 years, and have been actually struggling with that particular thing for a very, very long period of time. Guys, that is not needed. There has to be some day, if you take the right steps, this day is going to arrive into your life. This day is definitely going to arrive into your life, because you have to do it. For that, the way is taking the first 4 steps. Because if you do not take the first 4 steps carefully and rightfully, you're not going to achieve step 5. So step 5 is somewhere you need to promote yourself and say, all right, now I'm absolutely ready to face the world. It's absolutely good to go. So now, with this being said, I will do a quick revision of this entire thing. Okay, so let's go through the entire list of things. The step 1 in this exercise is you have to start speaking English like a child. Just get on with it. Okay, don't stop yourself. Just get on with it. Just start speaking like a child. There's no stopping. Just speak. Okay, whoever, whatever. If you've seen a child, they're not worried about that they get the necessary audience or not. They continue to speak to everything. I mean, if you would have noticed, I have 2 boys at my home, so I have noticed this quite a few times. I mean, they even talk to their toys. They continue to talk to their toys, and they would just start speaking. If there is nobody listening to them, they would start speaking to their toys, and they would continue to talk. Then the step number 2, which is the most vital step, to avoid judging, feedback, correcting at a very, very initial step, you need to find a good tutor who first realizes the gap in your learning, where you currently are and where you want to reach. And also the fact whether your frequency with this particular tutor matches or not. Okay, because every tutor has a different style of tutoring. Every buddy has a different way to learn. So whether your learning style matches the teaching style of the tutor is something that you need to be looking at. Okay, so Are you able to understand the concepts as explained by the tutor? Are you able to understand what the tutor said? Are you liking the time that you spend with the tutor? That's vital. That's very, very important. These are some of the things that you could look at while doing it. The third step, like I said, is a very crucial step, which is develop a learner's mindset. You have to believe the fact that, now I'm in the right hands. I need to now trust and go on with even the most simplistic exercises that I thought that, might be mundane, might be completely not something that I wanted to do. But there are some things that you have to do. And also practice those things really, really well. Okay, that's how you develop a learner's mindset. And ready to fail multiple times, continue the practice, do it. Once your tutor qualifies you that you are not a learner, you now need to start practicing your skills with other learners as well. And now you have come to a stage where you now need to test your skills in the open market. Go out, talk to people, more and more people. That's when you start joining a group of English learners, because there is a community that learners form. A teacher would have a limited amount of wavelength with a student, but the student relationship, I've seen that it works wonders most of the time. So when I engage two of my students sometimes, after step number 3, when I engage them for various exercises and things, I've seen tremendous results. I mean, they are able to create wonderful outputs, talk to each other, uh, and the understanding is absolutely there. And when you are in and around, because the tutor might be at a different level, at a different layer of communication, because they have been doing it for so many years, they're experienced. You as a learner, uh, if you are there in a group of other learners, then at that point of time you realize, okay, so there are more people who are learning and who have reached this particular thing. And then that healthy sense of competition takes you even further. So that's when you join a group of English learners. And step number 4 is very, very important. Once you qualify step number 4, okay, someday you need to promote yourself from being a learner to an expert. Okay, now I am ready. Now I'm ready to face the world. I have seen enough. I have done enough. Now I think I'm confidently able to speak English. I'm ready to face this particular arena of people. I'm now able to communicate with people from even the English native speaking countries. And it's all going absolutely fine for me. And that is the time you need to promote yourself from being a learner to an expert. That's about it. Thank you very, very much for listening. And I'm sure if you follow these 5 steps, it is going to work wonders for you, like it has worked for many of my students. Okay, Nivia, over to you.
So,
And I would like to discuss some of the queries that some of the students might have placed over here.
sure, sir, sure. Before we start with the Q&A sessions, I just want to, yeah, thank you. It was indeed an amazing presentation. So, all right, let's move on to the next stage of the webinar. Okay, so we have, so in case you guys have any questions, this is the time. Okay, you guys can drop the questions on the Q&A box. Let's just start with the one we have. There's a very interesting question from one of my attendees.
Mhm.
Uh, Anirudh just asked that I can speak but not fluently, and I can't think immediately in English than in mother tongue.
Okay. All right. So let me just come back to that slide, which is here. Okay. So you said that which step he was on? He is Nivia. Are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So which step did you say he was on out of the 6 in here? Anirudh?
I'm not sure. Anirudh did not answer. He did not specify using any of this. But he
Okay.
did ask this question, saying that finding difficulty getting the right words whenever he wants to speak, in English. Um, I think he get fumble, get like get stuck getting the right words.
Okay. So thanks, and good, Anirudh. That's a wonderful question to ask, and I'm sure you are at stage number one, which is step number one, and you are trying to speak. You're going ahead and speaking as much as you can. So, and thanks for, or probably congratulations for achieving step number one. That's very, very important. Now is the time. Now is the time you need to get into guidance, because from here you would need some guidance to be able to bring fluency into you. Fluency is a result of a right mindset, being able to present yourself and being very, very confident from within. You would only get confident when somebody tells you, all right, you're good to go. At this point of time in your life, you are not getting someone who is there to give you a checkbox, all right, you're good to go. In your mind, you're always confused, okay, whether this is the right word to say or not, whether this is the right time, or how is it going to be taken by the person who is listening. So there is a lot of confusion that is going around in your mind. And for the benefit of all the people that are here, let me tell you this particular thing that Anirudh has asked. So we think so anything that we speak, it starts with a thinking. Our mind is a reservoir of all the words, of all the things that are here. So that thinking happens in the mind. Okay, so this is what I want to say, and then there is some processing that happens in our mind, and then we speak. So the mind actually, when you start thinking, you have certain number of words, certain number of sentences that are here and there, and then because of uh, in a hurry to respond to that particular thing, you choose any of those jumbled words that comes to your mind in the first place, and then you just say it. So a good tutor or somebody who is going to guide you is going to be able to give you the right thought and speech coordination. This technique is called thought and speech coordination. So somebody is going to be able to align your thoughts to your speech, be able to put on the right words coming onto you, and so that you are able to considerably think, spend some time inside your minds, and then come out with the words. Once your thought and speech alignment or coordination is developed, you're good to go. You're absolutely good to go. So at this point of time, like I said, you're at step one, you got to get to step two. I hope, Anirudh, I have answered your question to the best of your satisfaction.
So, moving on to the next question. So, we have a question from an anonymous attendee.
Mhm.
Uh, the question is, how much time it will take to be expert in speaking?
Mhm.
Uh, we also have a similar question on from coming from Rekha,
Mhm.
saying how much time it will take to speak effortlessly.
Okay, it depends upon, see, it depends upon person to person. And I'll have to really, really gauge which, uh, at what stage in step number one you are. If you are not even on step number one, it is going to take you a considerable amount of time. So, like I said, it takes about, uh, so if somebody has been very, very proactive and has been following step number one, speaking to all the things, not worried about who would think what, then once that particular person has reached that stage, and even if you're not able to go to that stage, and you need help, you want step number two to come before step number one, that you want to identify a tutor first and then tell you the right ways, the right approach to go about it. You can also do that. uh, Normally, I have seen with my experience, it takes about anything between 3 to 6 months to be able to very, very confidently speak uh, the language. So, and that's on the basis of the proven results that I've had so far. So somebody who is already has crossed step one, is on step two, 3 to 4 months is good enough, is good enough for that particular person. But if you're there, If you're not even done with step number one, then it takes about 6 months. You want to bypass step number one and go directly on with step number two, then it takes about 6 months. You need guidance at the very start. So I hope I've answered the question in here for Rekha and the other person, anonymous.
So we have another questions from anonymous again. He asked, "Sir, do you have online classes, and what is the fees?"
Yes. Okay. So yes, with I think I would like to really. That's a very good question, Nevia, and I would really want to talk about it. I think I was really wary of. So I got very active, and I started providing more of online classes starting 2020. Before that, I was more of an offline guy. My most of my classes and things happened face to face, offline. I realized that online classes are a wonderful thing, and it has quite worked for me. Uh, First of all, the first thing that I primarily enjoy is that you don't need to dress up too much. Okay, that's one of the things that I enjoy. You don't have to really dress up too much. You're there. Uh, where you can take the classes from anywhere. The second thing which is wonderful about this is you can take the classes from anywhere. I can be traveling, I can be out somewhere, and if there is a student that I'm continuing with, I can take classes from anywhere. Also, the third thing is the student does not have to invest money on travel or or giving snacks to the tutor when when they come to their place and things. So and also there's a lot of saving in terms of time. Places like Delhi, NCR, or some other places, the distances are too far to travel. And if people are able to find a good tutor, traveling becomes a real tough thing. And for that matter, Bangalore, Mumbai, the distances are too much. So I think online classes are a wonderful way, and it connects people across the globe. You can be wherever you are. All you need is a very good quality internet connection, and you can have a phone, laptop, whatever. So it works very well. So yes, like I said, I'm now a pro in terms of providing online classes, and I most of my classes happen online, considering the distances and the uh, students that I have who are across the world at this point of time. So I take online classes primarily. Offline classes are only on a request, and that is only for very influential people. The second thing about the fee is that's a very private discussion, and I think you need to get onto the Urban Pro site and find out the rest of the things. Okay. All right, Nivia, I think we're done with this question.
Yes, so moving on to the next question we have from Ramya. She
Mhm.
just asked, "Is grammar important when it comes to speaking?"
Oh, that's a very a nice way to put it. Yes, every language has some prerequisites, but you do not need to g- cram up the grammar. Like I've been continuously saying, even in my previous sessions and thing, that English happens three times in your life. First one is during your school days when you are a student, and at that point of time, the English that you study is English as a subject, and you continue to learn it. At that point of time, you're not really worried about whether I can speak fluent English or not. At that point of time, you're just worried about whether I would be able to score marks in here or not. So if you get 80 or 90 or 100 marks in that particular thing and you're not able to speak really well, that is okay, because what matters is the scoreboard and not the skill, because you're not learning a skill at that point of time. You're actually preparing a scoreboard for the rest of your life, which you're going to show to the world. Now that's over. Okay, now a new life comes when you go to college. The learning of grammar, cramming of grammar, the knowledge of tenses, adverb, adjective, and all these things, this ends at this point of time in your life. The moment you pass the time when you were learning English as a subject, it goes away. It's all done. Now, when you enter college, nobody is asking you about, unless you've taken English as a subject, then it's a different matter altogether. But for any other thing, now English becomes a medium of communication. If you have gone through a regional medium in terms of your studies, then then people give you regional books. And if you have if you want studies to happen in English, they give you English books. That's how it happens. That's the only thing that matters at that point. Now, again, there's a different scoreboard. But here nobody is rating you in terms of English. They are only rating you in terms of the technical knowledge that you have about that particular subject that is going on there. The third stage is when you start working. And at that stage, to answer your question, at that stage, nobody is really testing you on your grammar. They're actually checking you on your style of communication, how confident you are. And like I said, if you have crossed step number 2, you would not have a problem in terms of grammar or things. Because in my recent style of teaching, I have been able to, give my students a very, very a nice way of speaking. Because, that grammar, tenses, and everything is for me. I should be able to put it on a very, very nice plate for you. Like, you do not go and check out the recipe of everything that a chef cooks. You now need to taste it, enjoy it. You should be able to just feel the flavor. And that's what I do for my students. So I think I've answered this question. So you need to understand that grammar as a thing is secondary. The style and the pronunciation matters more at this point of time.
All right, so thank you for the answer. Okay, so as we all know, time is scarce, and we will be wrapping up the sessions in some time. We will pick up another two questions, and we will wrap up the session. So the last two questions I will pick. We have a question from Ansu Pandey. So
Mhm.
he asked, saying, "I can speak, but sometimes I didn't get proper words to speak, and after that I hesitate. What should I do?"
Okay. So he said he can speak, but sometimes he doesn't get the right words. Is that what he's saying?
Yes, yes, he did
Okay.
the right word, and he started to feel hesitate and like get confused, nervous, and then at the end he couldn't speak.
All right.
Emotions.
So he's at step number, probably he is in stage 4 at this point of time in here, which he can understand and speak in private, but hesitant in public. He cannot do that in public. And so I think, like I said, he is again, Ashu is at step number 1 into his thing. He can speak in private, but he's not getting the right amount of confidence to be able to do that in public. He needs to get onto step number 2 and find a right tutor for himself, or and a tutor who can probably guide him through the next steps to be able to get onto the stage where he can join a group of English speakers. Because most of the time the challenge happens because of the fact you do not get many people to talk to you in English. Either sometimes there are people who are either speaking very, very good English around you, and you feel hesitant that you would not be able to connect. So there has to be a link between the two. A tutor has to take you there, be able to get you to that particular stage, and then you can go for it. So that's the thing.
All right, so thank you. Moving on to the last question for the day. The question comes from Muhammad Nadeem.
Mhm.
His question is, I can understand and speak, but not sure if that is right.
Yeah. So I think that's very nice. I mean, he's at 3. He's saying that his condition is at point number 3, which is he can understand and speak, but he's not sure if that's right. And like I said, he is at step number 1. He needs to get that confirmation. Somebody needs to give him patience and time. He needs to seek and get the right guidance at this point of time. Somebody needs to tell him, okay, what's right and what's wrong. Because if he doesn't know what's right and what's wrong, then he needs somebody to tell him what's right and what's wrong. So over a period of time, he would easily understand. He would probably know himself what's right and what's wrong, and that is going to form the basis of his growth. And I think, Mohammed, that's the way you should go for it. You should now get into now you should start scrolling around and find a good tutor for yourself. And like I said, a tutor can be anyone.
All
Yeah.
right, thank you, sir. So I just wanted to deliver one message from one of our attendees.
Mhm.
Her name is Ramya K. Ramya just dropped a message on the chat box saying, "After your speech, I feel more confident. Thank you, sir."
Oh, I thank Ramya for listening on to me, and I'm really, really grateful for the nice and kind words that she's put in for me. I will continue to, um, uh, you know, give more as a tutor. That's what I'm committed to.
All right, then, okay, fine. So, as we have reached the end of the webinar, I would inform all our attendees that this session has been recorded and it will be there on our YouTube channel in case you want access to the recording. Okay. And to connect with our speaker today, you can, book a demo, and the link is given on the description box. Okay, I hope you all found it. Yes, it is there. You can just click to, connect with our speaker. All right. All right. Before we take a leave, I would like to, thank our speaker. Sir, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks, Nivya. Thank you very much for organizing this. I think this will be very, very helpful for our future students and also for the current students. I think and I really, really thank Urban Pro for organizing such things. This is really a wonderful initiative and is definitely helpful for our students.
Thank you, sir. Moving on, I would like to thank all our attendees and YouTube viewers as well for being a wonderful audience and making this webinar successful. Okay. Also, to get our regular updates on interactive live webinar and informative lessons video, to subscribe our YouTube channel. All right, and don't forget, we will be live on every Tuesday 6 p.m. Okay, with our spoken English experts. Thank you, sir, once again.
Thanks, Nivya. Thank you very much. Bye for now. Thank you very much for all the attendees and entire Urban Pro team. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Stay tuned, everyone. Thanks for joining once again.